There's a saying, you can take the boy out of the town, but you can't take the town out of the boy. For Charles, the once golden boy who left his small town behind, leaving was never a choice. The city was his escape. However, years later, as a powerful CEO, that escape feels more like a prison. Loneliness is his constant companion, and guilt lingers as his quiet shadow. When he received the call informing him that his mother was ill, he had no choice but to return. But nothing could prepare him for what he would find or who he would encounter. In the quiet streets of his past, Charles's world shatters as he uncovers a truth he has buried for years, a son he never knew, and an ex who never stopped waiting. The car slows, and Charles steps out, the weight of the past heavy on his shoulders. He stands for a moment, surveying the town that feels both foreign and strangely familiar. As the pieces of his life begin to collide, one question remains. Can he fix what's been broken, or will the truth destroy him once and for all? The journey ahead will force Charles to confront not just the past, but also the man he has become. Before we start our story, please click the like button. It will help us grow our channel. Thank you. And let's begin. So, this is the story of a millionaire CEO who returns to his small town to discover the unexpected truth about his ex and son. The moment Charles set foot back in this town, it was as if the years had melted away. The place hadn't changed much. The boy who left in search of something bigger was now a man, powerful and lonely, yet still tied to this small, quiet place. Inside, Charles's eyes scan the room until they lock with Ashley Parker, sitting at a table near the window. She's looking out, deep in thought. She doesn't notice him at first. Charles stands frozen for a moment, uncertain. Ashley Parker, the woman he had once loved, the one he left behind. Time had changed her just as it had changed him. She wasn't the carefree girl he remembered. She was stronger, harder. But in her eyes, there was still a flicker of the past, something Charles wasn't sure he deserved to see. Charles takes a breath and walks toward her. She looks up as he nears, their eyes meeting. The silence between them feels thick, with years of unspoken words.
Charles, I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
She stands slowly, her posture stiff. There's no warmth in her voice, only a bitterness that stings. But Charles doesn't back away.
Yeah, it's been a while. I didn't expect it to be like this.
Like what? You mean you didn't expect to run into the girl you left behind?
The words cut deep, and Charles winces but hides his hurt behind a composed expression. He takes a seat across from her, unsure of what to say next.
I never wanted to hurt you, Ashley. I didn't leave because of you. It was just the life I thought I needed.
Needed? You left me. You left everything. And now you think you can just come back like nothing happened?
The silence between them is heavy. Charles's eyes wander, searching for something familiar in her face, but it's not there anymore. She's a stranger to him, and yet she's the one person who knows him completely.
You thought you could run away from this town. From me. But you can't, Charles. You can't escape what you left behind.
Charles opens his mouth to speak, but Ashley cuts him off with a quick shake of her head.
Words don't fix anything. You had years to say sorry. I'm not sure it matters anymore.
There's a long pause as Charles considers her words. He wants to explain, but he knows deep down there's more to this than just regret and apologies. Then, the door to the cafe opens and a young boy steps inside. Charles notices him immediately, a boy with familiar eyes and a striking resemblance to himself. Ashley looks up, her face changing. The boy hesitates for a moment before walking over to Charles, standing in front of him.
Are you my daddy?
Charles's heart stops. The room feels like it's spinning, his world shattering in an instant. Ashley's face pales as she watches him, her silence heavy with the weight of the truth she's kept from him for years. The boy stands there. The truth Charles had buried so deep for so long his son was now standing in front of him, asking a question that would unravel everything. Charles doesn't know what to say. The past, the choices, and the years of separation all crash into him at that moment. Charles stands in front of Nathan, frozen. The boy's simple question cuts through the years of distance, of lies, of unspoken truths. Charles's heart races as his mind scrambles to catch up.
Are you my dad?
Charles's breath catches in his throat. Ashley stands nearby, her eyes a mixture of regret and resolve, waiting for Charles's response. The silence stretches out, heavy and suffocating. Charles feels as though the weight of the entire world is crashing down on him.
Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know about you. I didn't know I had a son.
Ashley's expression falters, but she quickly masks it with a tight, controlled face. She crosses her arms, her posture cold.
Well, now you know. For 7 years, Charles. For 7 years, I raised him without you.
Charles feels the sting of her words, but it's not just the anger in her voice that cuts through him. It's the truth. He had left her, left everything behind. And for what? He had traded the life he could have had for something that had never truly fulfilled him. And now, standing here in front of this boy, his son, he realizes the price of that choice. Nathan shifts on his feet, looking between Charles and Ashley, clearly confused by the tense atmosphere. Charles kneels to meet Nathan's eyes, his heart aching as he sees the resemblance between them.
Are you really my dad?
Charles swallows hard. The reality of the moment hits him like a wave, and for the first time he understands the weight of what he's missed. The years, the moments, the milestones of his son's life, gone, all because of his own decisions.
Yes, I am. And I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you while you growing up.
He reaches out, gently resting a hand on Nathan's shoulder, the boy flinching slightly at the unfamiliar contact. Charles smiles softly, trying to bridge the gap between them despite the awkwardness of it all.
I don't know what to say, Nathan. I didn't know, but I'm here now. And I want to be part of your life if you'll let me.
Nathan looks up at him, still unsure, but something in his eyes shifts a tentative trust. He nods ever so slightly. Charles's heart swells with a mix of relief and guilt. There's so much to make up for, but in that moment, Charles knows one thing for certain. He has a chance to build something real with Nathan, to be the father he never thought he could be. Ashley watches them, her expression softening, but still guarded. She crosses the room and stands beside them, arms still folded. Her voice is quieter now, more reflective.
Words don't change the past, Charles. You can't just walk back into our lives and expect everything to be okay.
Charles looks up at her, guilt clouding his eyes. He knows she's right. The past can't be fixed, and maybe she'll never forgive him fully, but this moment, this fragile chance with Nathan, feels like a lifeline.
I'm not here to fix the past. I'm here to be a father, to be the man I should have been. That's all I can do now.
Ashley doesn't say anything for a long moment, her eyes steady. Finally, she exhales, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly.
Just don't hurt him, Charles. Don't hurt him like you hurt me.
Charles nods, the weight of her request heavy in his heart. He looks at Nathan and then back at Ashley, understanding the enormity of what he's walked into. At that moment, Charles realized something he hadn't fully grasped before. It wasn't just about redemption. It was about starting from scratch, rebuilding something that had been broken long ago. And this time, he couldn't afford to fail. Later that day, Charles stands alone in the quiet town park. He stares at the ground, deep in thought, his mind swirling with everything that's happened. The weight of Nathan's existence presses on him, but so does the guilt that comes with it. He's always been good at fixing things, at solving problems, but this is different. Charles had always been the man who could make things happen. Business deals, power moves, a life that ran on deadlines and decisions. But this was something he could never fix with money. The years lost with Nathan, the woman he'd left behind, it was all so much more complicated. His wealth, his success, none of it mattered now. He couldn't buy back the time he'd missed. Charles walks to the bench where he and Ashley used to sit years ago. He takes a seat, looking out at the peaceful scene. The quiet hum of life in the town, but it feels foreign to him now, out of reach. He pulls out his phone and stares at it, tempted to call his assistant to push work to the front of his mind. But he doesn't. Instead, he makes a decision. He's going to talk to Ashley. After a moment, he gets up and heads to her house. It's a small, modest place, but Charles remembers when it was full of laughter, full of life. He hesitates at the door, his hand resting on the knob. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about Nathan, about making the right choice. He knocks.
Charles, what are you doing here?
She doesn't invite him in, but she doesn't slam the door either. Charles steps forward, his eyes sincere.
Sorry, Ashley, but I need to talk to you.
Ashley sighs, stepping aside to let him in, though she doesn't offer any words of welcome. The silence between them is thick, filled with memories, both good and bad. They sit at the kitchen table, familiar territory, but everything feels different now.
I know I can't undo the past, Ashley. I've spent years pretending it didn't matter, pretending that my success was enough, but it wasn't, and I know that now. I don't want to be the man who abandoned his family. I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Ashley doesn't look at him. She stares out the window, arms crossed over her chest.
You weren't just gone, Charles. You weren't just absent. You left us with nothing. No support, no hope. And I don't know if I can forgive that.
Charles feels the sting of her words, but he doesn't back down. He's used to hard conversations, but this one is different. This one matters more.
I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve that. But I want you to know that I'm here now. For Nathan. For you. And I want to try. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm not running away this time.
Ashley turns to look at him, her eyes searching his face. There's a long pause before she finally speaks, her voice quiet, almost a whisper.
You've got a long way to go, Charles. But if you really want to be a father, then show up. Show up every day. No more excuses.
Charles nods, the weight of her words settling in. The weight of her words settling in. He knows this isn't going to be easy, that rebuilding what they had and what he missed with Nathan will take time. But for the first time in years, he feels like he's on the right path. Charles had spent so long chasing a version of success that only existed in his mind. But now, standing in front of Ashley, he understood that success wasn't about power or money. It was about showing up. It was about the quiet, everyday choices that made a life meaningful. And maybe he was ready to make those choices now. The next few days pass in a blur. Charles finds himself back at his office, unable to focus on his usual high-stakes meetings. Every conversation, every deal feels distant, as if he's merely going through the motions. His mind constantly drifts back to Nathan and Ashley, to the chance he's been given, and the weight of what he has to fix. But there's a glimmer of hope now, something he hasn't felt in years. One afternoon, Charles returns to the small town where he once lived with Ashley in their small house. It feels different now, less like a house and more like a home, with the warm light spilling through the windows and soft laughter coming from inside. He hesitates at the door, his hand on the knob. His thoughts race as he prepares for another uncertain step in this fragile new chapter. He knocks, his heart pounding in his chest. The door opens almost immediately, and Nathan stands there, his small face lighting up when he sees Charles.
Hi, Dad.
Charles smiles an overwhelmed but genuine smile and steps inside. Ashley is in the kitchen, her back to him. She's making lunch but pauses when she hears the sound of Charles's footsteps.
Hey buddy, you're looking good.
Nathan's face brightens, and Charles's heart swells at the sight of him. This boy who has no idea how much of a stranger he's been to him until now. Ashley turns to face Charles, her expression unreadable, but her eyes softer than before.
I made lunch. You staying?
Charles hesitates, then nods. He's not sure what to expect, but he knows this is a small step forward, a step that means more than anything else right now. He sits down at the table, Nathan climbing into the chair next to him. Ashley joins them, but the tension still hangs in the air, as if both of them are waiting for something to shift, waiting for Charles to prove himself. They eat in silence for a while, the clinking of silverware the only sound. Charles looks up at Ashley, his voice low, sincere.
I've been thinking about what you said, about showing up. I want to. Not just for Nathan, but for you too.
Ashley doesn't respond right away. She simply nods, focusing on her plate. Charles glances at Nathan, who's already talking about school, his eyes wide with excitement about some new project. Charles listens. This boy, his son, is full of life, full of stories, and Charles wants to hear every one of them.
And guess what? I got the lead role in our class play. I'm going to be a knight.
Charles laughs, genuinely surprised and proud. It's a small moment, but it hits him hard. The things he's missed. He realizes how much he wants to be part of this life and how much he's willing to do to make things right.
That's awesome, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Nathan beams, and Ashley glances at Charles. The briefest flicker of something. Maybe hope, crossing her face before it's hidden again. Charles knows it will take more than a few words to rebuild what was broken, but right now, this moment feels like the beginning of something new. For the first time in a long time, Charles felt something he hadn't known he was missing. A connection with Nathan, with Ashley. He hadn't come here to fix everything at once, but today he had taken a step, a small one maybe, and in his heart, Charles knew it was the right one. The days following their lunch together are quieter. Charles spends more time at Ashley's house, though it's never quite easy. Each moment feels fragile, like they're all walking on thin ice, unsure of what will happen next. Charles's efforts to be present for Nathan feel genuine, but Ashley remains distant. Her trust is not so easily regained. One evening, Charles arrives to find Ashley sitting on the porch, the setting sun casting a warm glow over her features. She looks lost in thought, her face weary. Charles hesitates before approaching, unsure if now is the right time, but as he gets closer, he can see the tiredness in her eyes, something deeper than just the weight of her responsibilities.
Hey, Ashley, are you okay?
Ashley looks up, her expression guarded but not as closed off as before. She nods, gesturing for him to sit beside her. Charles takes a seat, giving her space, but still close enough that the silence between them isn't too heavy.
You're trying, Charles, but I don't know if trying is enough anymore.
Her voice cracks slightly, and Charles feels the weight of her words settle on his chest. He knows this isn't easy for her. He knows that trust is something that can't be rebuilt with words alone. And yet, here he is, trying because he wants to show her that he's changed.
I know it's not enough. I know I've hurt you, hurt Nathan, but I'm here now. And I'm not going anywhere, Ashley. I'll prove it to you if I have to. I want to be part of his life, your life.
Ashley turns to face him fully now, her eyes steady but still guarded.
You say that, but actions speak louder than words, Charles. And I've been alone for so long, doing everything on my own, that I don't know if I can trust that you'll stay, or that you'll actually show up when it matters.
Charles looks at her, his heart pounding. He knows she's right. She's been carrying the weight of everything alone for so long. And in that silence, Charles realizes just how much she's had to shoulder. The realization stings, and it's not lost on him that the damage he's caused won't be undone quickly.
I'll show up. Every day. I don't want to be the man who left. I want to be the man who stays. And I know it's going to take time. But I'll prove it, Ashley. I'll prove that I'm here for both of you.
For a long moment, Ashley studies him. Charles can see the battle behind her eyes, the part of her that wants to believe him, and the part that's been hurt too many times to trust easily.
I don't know if I can forgive you, Charles, but for Nathan's sake, I'll try.
The words are more than Charles expected, and for the first time, he feels a flicker of hope that things might change. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, a weight lifts from his chest. He doesn't expect forgiveness overnight, but this feels like the beginning of something real. The beginning of redemption.
Thank you, Ashley. That's all I can ask for.
As the evening draws on, Charles feels a sense of peace he hasn't felt in years. He knows the road ahead will be long and difficult, but for the first time, he believes it's worth it. He's not just fighting for himself anymore. He's fighting for Nathan, for Ashley, and for the chance to rebuild a family he thought he had lost. Charles had come back to this town with a mission to fix what had been broken. But what he was starting to realize was that fixing didn't mean erasing the past. It meant showing up, being present, and proving that, this time, he wouldn't walk away. It wasn't about changing history. It was about building a future. The weeks pass slowly, and Charles finds himself spending more time. In the small town, he's working on business from a distance, but his heart isn't in it. Not anymore. His focus is on Nathan, on being the father he should have been from the start. Ashley, though still distant, seems to have softened just a little. It's progress, but Charles knows there's a long way to go. One afternoon, Charles picks Nathan from school. It's something simple, but to Charles, it feels like a victory. Nathan climbs into the car, looking excited.
Guess what, Dad? I got the high score on my math test.
Charles laughs, genuinely proud, his heart swelling with a feeling he's never had before, like something is clicking into place inside him. He turns to Nathan, his smile soft but full of pride.
That's awesome, buddy. You're a genius.
Nathan giggles, clearly enjoying the attention. As they drive, they chat about the test, and Charles finds himself asking questions about Nathan's school life, his friends, and his favorite subjects. It's small talk, but it feels meaningful, like Charles is beginning to truly understand this little boy he's only just started to know. When they arrive back at Ashley's house, Charles parks the car and turns to Nathan, his voice sincere.
Nathan, my son, I'm really proud of you. You're doing great.
Nathan beams, a small blush creeping onto his cheeks at the praise. Charles watches him with a growing sense of something he can't quite name. Love, maybe, or at least the beginnings of it. He's starting to feel like a father, not just a man making amends. As they walk inside, Ashley is in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. She glances up as they enter, her eyes softening just a touch when she sees Charles and Nathan together. It's a quiet, unsaid acknowledgement that things are changing, albeit slowly.
How was the test, Nathan?
I got the high score. Dad said I'm a genius.
Charles catches Ashley's eyes for a brief moment, and in that instant he feels something, like a shift in the air, a subtle change. She doesn't say anything, but there's a hint of something in her eyes, maybe a glimmer of hope, or perhaps just relief. Charles can't tell, but he's not about to let this slip away. As dinner is served, they sit around the table, the conversation flowing more easily than it had in the past. Nathan talks about school, about his friends, and Charles listens intently, feeling more connected with his son than ever. Ashley adds comments here and there, and for a brief moment, it feels like a family, something Charles has only ever dreamed.
I know I've made mistakes. I know it won't be easy to fix everything. But I want you to know I'm here. For both of you. I'm not going anywhere.
Ashley doesn't respond right away, but she looks at Charles, her expression unreadable. The moment stretches, but it's not uncomfortable. There's no anger in her eyes, no judgment, just something quieter, something more hopeful. Finally, she nods.
I'm glad you're here.
The words are simple, but to Charles, they're everything. They're not forgiveness, not yet, but they're a step, maybe even the first real step toward something better, toward the family he'd lost and now, maybe, had a chance to rebuild. Charles had spent so long trying to run from his past, from the mistakes he'd made, that he'd forgotten what it meant to be truly present. But now, sitting at the table with Nathan and Ashley, he realized something. Redemption wasn't about undoing the past. It was about showing up, being here, and making the effort. For the first time in years, Charles felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. It's been a few months since Charles started spending more time with Nathan and Ashley. Things between them have slowly begun to shift, though not without their challenges. Charles is becoming more involved in Nathan's life, attending school events, helping with homework, and even spending time teaching him how to play basketball, something Charles never thought he'd enjoy. Yet every time Nathan's face lights up with a smile, Charles feels something stir within him, a feeling he's been missing for years. One chilly evening, after a long day at work, Charles drives to Ashley's house. He's been trying to make time to check in with her more, to show her that he's not just focused on Nathan, but on their relationship too. He knows Ashley is still hesitant, still holding back a piece of herself, but he's willing to wait. He's willing to earn her trust again. Charles parks the car and takes a deep breath before stepping out. The porch light is on, casting a warm glow over the front yard. He walks up the steps and knocks. A few moments later, Ashley opens the door. She's dressed casually, a soft smile on her lips as she sees him standing there.
Hey, Charles, come in.
Charles enters, and they stand in the living room for a moment. Nathan is upstairs, finishing his homework. Ashley gestures to the couch and they both sit down, the familiar silence between them. This time, however, it doesn't feel quite as heavy.
I've been thinking about everything. About Nathan, about you. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, and I know I can't just fix them overnight. But I want to keep showing up. I want to prove to you that I'm here to stay.
Ashley looks at him, her expression softening just slightly. She doesn't answer right away, but Charles can see the wheels turning in her head. For the first time, he doesn't feel like he's waiting for her to slam the door on him. He feels like she's actually listening.
I know you're trying, Charles. I see it. But it's not just about showing up. It's about consistency. It's about being there when it matters. I've been alone for so long, doing everything on my own, that it's hard to let someone in again. Especially someone who left.
Her voice trembles slightly at the end, and Charles's heart aches for her. He knows the weight of those words. He knows the damage he's caused, and as much as he wants to erase the past, he knows he can't. What he can do is be here now for her and Nathan.
I get that. I don't expect you to trust me completely overnight. But I'll keep showing up. I'll be consistent.
Ashley meets his eyes, and for a moment, they just look at each other. No words, just understanding. Charles knows this is a turning point. Ashley's been carrying the burden of the past for so long, and while he can't change that, he's ready to help lighten her load.
Okay, I'll try too.
Charles feels a wave of relief wash over him. It's not forgiveness, not yet, but it's something. It's a crack in the wall, and he's finally starting to see the light on the other side. Just then, Nathan comes rushing down the stairs, a wide grin on his face.
Hey, guess what? I'm going to be in the school play again. This time, I'm a pirate.
Charles laughs, unable to hide his pride. He looks at Ashley, and for a brief moment, they share a quiet moment of connection, a small, shared victory. Maybe they're not fully healed yet, but they're closer. Charles knows it's a step forward, and that's all he can ask for. Charles had spent so much of his life running from his past, thinking he could outrun the consequences of his choices. But as he sat there in Ashley's living room, watching Nathan's excitement and seeing the flicker of hope in Ashley's eyes, he realized something important. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the small moments, the quiet steps forward. And for the first time, Charles felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. Weeks pass, and Charles's presence becomes a steady rhythm in their lives. His relationship with Nathan grows stronger, filled with laughter, shared moments, and the kind of quiet love only a father and son can have. Ashley remains cautious but begins to soften, allowing Charles into their world a little more each day. One evening, after a school event where Nathan played his pirate role, the three of them sit together on the porch. The evening is calm, the air cool, and for the first time in a long while, there's a sense of peace. Charles watches Nathan tell stories of his day, his voice animated and full of life.
I'm grateful for this. For you both. I'm still learning, but I'll never stop trying to be the man you deserve.
Ashley looks at him for a long moment, her eyes soft. She doesn't say anything, but the small smile on her face speaks volumes. The tension between them has lessened, and the heavy weight of the past is starting to give way to something new. A sense of trust, even if it's fragile.
Just keep showing up, Charles. That's all I can ask for.
Charles nods, feeling the weight of her words. They don't need grand promises anymore. What matters now is being there consistently every day. As the night deepens, Charles, Ashley, and Nathan sit together, watching the stars. A quiet, simple moment. But it's enough. The foundation of their family is being rebuilt, one day at a time. Redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about showing up, being present, and putting in the effort to rebuild what was broken. Healing takes time, but consistency and sincerity can pave the way for forgiveness and growth. If this story touches your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps us share more emotional, heartwarming love stories like this one. And remember, love isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about finding someone who makes your world feel perfect. Until next time, stay inspired and stay a romantic millionaire.